Hi guys, welcome to my tutorial for tea bag rosettes. Now, I was using some old book pages yesterday and some of my round tea bags, and I decided to have a little play around and see if I could make some style of embellishments. They are really quite simple. This one here is just 3 tea bags and a little vintage button in the centre, and obviously all the lovely distress colorations are naturally from the tea bag. I also went on to playing with some old book pages. They really are quite grungy, the whole idea. Some of them have been sewn, some of them have just been glued, and we've just got a variety of bits and pieces. On this one I decided to chop up the tea bag and just see if we can make different styles of things happening, maybe a few petals. Anyway, so we've got a variety here, and let's go ahead and try and make our first tea bag rosette. If I move these out of the way, I've also got this one with a lot of bling going on. So I've got a sheet of bling because maybe we also like a little bit of shabby chic. So, scoot them to the side. You're going to need round tea bags, predominantly, and I've just used a round punch just to punch out some book pages, just to add a little bit more definition. I've got this one with a little scallop edge as well. Some needle and a thread, because we are actually going to sew on our vintage buttons, because that's what's going to hold this together as we do our layers. We're going to need some glue, Fabri-Tac, tacky glue. You can try for a like a glue stick. That's Pritt Stick is a brand. I am going to use my UHU. Only reason why I use this more is because I can go down to the pound shop and get quite a lot of glue for £1. So what we're going to need, very simply, 3 used and then dried, emptied of the actual tea bags, and I like them with lots of coloration. The first one at the top, we want lots of coloration because this is going to be the one that's going to sit at the centre, and it doesn't really matter then if we've got some that are not so coloured. So this one is much lighter, might go for it that way round, but it's just going to sit underneath. So 1, 2, so 3 tea bags. I'm going to choose a vintage button. Doesn't have to be a vintage button, it just happens that I have lots and lots of buttons in my collection, and I'm going for this one that's got 4 holes in it. Needle and thread, which I did already put to one side, and we're just going to sew button. First thing we're going to do is get that button sewn on. I'm not even going to knot my thread, just going to pull it through, going to stick my finger underneath so I hold that thread still so I don't pull it all the way through. And you can stitch this as many times as you like. I'm just really going to stitch it just the once. As you can see, I'm slightly going off centre. It's not a major problem. Going to turn it over. One thing I am going to do, I am going to knot it at the back, and you're going to see on the white paper as my background some of the tea, loose tea falling out. No matter how many times I try and shake the loose tea out, there's always a little something. Okay, so that's knotted. As always, no pair of scissors to hand. Bear with me because my fingertips are not going to be able to pull that apart. Grab my scissors, cut that off. Scoop the loose tea off of my side. Right, so we've got 3 tea bags sewn together with a button in the centre. Now, if I share with you how let out the tea by actually taking, dare I say, a scalpel and actually slicing the tea bag. So where my thumb is, that is the entrance and exit of all the loose tea. So on each one of these is going to be a little section that you can pull apart. Now that we've sewn them in the centre, now we've attached all 3 tea bags together, I'm just going to raise and put my thumb in and pull them apart. Then that will give us 6 little layers that we can spread out. As you can see, it just doesn't matter if it's ripping. I'm just making more layers. It's messy, you can see the loose tea coming out. But I would discuss these as, or describe them as grungy. Got to be aware, you've sewn these tea bags together. If you are a little too brutal, you are actually going to pull that stitching through. So here we go. And just keep working our way round. And in all honesty, nothing we can't cure with a little bit of glue. Listen to that. There we go. I mean, these tea bags are around about 2 inches wide in diameter. Right, I think we are nearly there on the last layer. So now we've got all our layers pulled apart, our tea bags, all that wonderful loose tea. I'm going to clear off for the moment off the side. Now, I could leave it like so, but that's not really what I was hoping for. It's not the desired look. Now comes the glue stick. So I'm going to put, first off, some glue under the button and glue that round. That's the reason why we've sewn this, is so all these layers are together. I'm just trying to stick to little sections underneath the button, because what we're going to do is attempt to scrunch this all up in a second. The best bit about all of this is just leaving them to dry. Put that to one side, put the lid back on, and this is the scrunchy bit. I really am just going to pinch, poke, pinch, put it under the button, pinch, because I know the centre of all of this has got the glue. And what's going to happen, this is going to release itself in a second. Naturally will start to decrumple, but some of the layers will get scrunched up underneath there. We can work it a little bit more, we can do a little bit of fussing around. We've got these loose bits here, entirely up to you. You can either pull them off, glue them back in at the back, or leave them on, whichever you prefer. I'm going to take that off, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to keep this. It's always a good good use of some tea bags at a later point. It may make another embellishment. So that is a very simple tea bag rosette out of 3 tea bags, all separated with layers and a little glue in the centre. And I've made it relatively flat so we can lay this into a journal page. We can change it up slightly. We can choose to have a tea bag. I haven't distressed, these pages are from an old vintage book. So we can put vintage book on top of a tea bag. Take another tea bag, we can cut all the way round. There we go. So you've got little sections now that are loose. I'm going to gently scrunch this up a little bit, no glue. Pinching it together with my fingers. Look at all that loose tea. Put it on top of the book page and the other tea bag. Grab myself another button. Got this little coppery one here. I'm going to grab my needle and thread. Try and get this needle to go through the centre. It's not difficult. So that is attached. Put it through. Tie in the centre, knot it off. One more for luck. Scissors. I'm going to keep that needle. Just going to take all of that loose tea away. Right, so we've got some layering going on here. Yet again, you can separate that bottom if you want to. Can you see that split there? Run your thumb or your finger all the way around. You can use a knife or a pair of scissors, whatever is required. I'm going to scrunch this in a different way. I'm going to do like just a tack-in stitch all the way around the back of this tea bag. Nothing fancy going on here. So we're not going to put any glue unless I feel that we need to. And what this is going to do, we're going to pull the tea bag up using this cotton. And that will turn it into like a little scrunch. There we go. Now I'm going to take both ends. See, I'm beginning to get that to scrunch up. That's one side. That was the first bit that I sewed, and then I'm going to pull up the second side. Then I'm going to knot that again. And that will keep it in place. Cut off the end. My poor dressmaker's scissors are not as sharp as they should be. They've got a lot of hammering. Right, now let's have a look at this tea bag rose. So now we can see all sorts going on. Layers, bits and pieces all going in different directions. If you want to, looks a little bizarre, doesn't it, that one? We'll grab another tea bag, try and loosen some of the tea, and I might just be inclined to get the glue out, the dabbing centre, put that in the centre like so. Then it's about just fussing to your heart's content until you have something that you're happy with that resembles like a little rosette. As you can see, I've done, as I said, this one with a bit of bling, and I've just got this beautiful gifted plastic here. Lovely, and I've just cut off one, and that's just gone in the centre, but this one I literally scrunched up by hand and did each one glued, so this one has no sewing involved. And also, just want to see if you have got the clipper style tea bags. What I've done is I've taken one of my used tea bags and just stained this particular bag up, because I just emptied the contents out without it being used. I'm going to fold it and see if we can make a round like so. I'm going to fold it in half and see if we can make a round tea bag without actually having to invest in any. Maybe I should have put something underneath. Let's just see. If you've got, there we go, a die cut or a cuttle bag or one of these big shots. Come on. There we go. We've got 2 round circles out of tea bag material without actually having to purchase a round tea bag, and I'm sure we can do very similar again. Take a little piece of paper, let's put a couple of layers on top, choose a button, get another threaded needle, straight through the centre, through the paper, tie, just do, come on little needle, typically me, I've caught it, there we go, one more, cut off the ends, put to one side, scrunch it up, add some glue. I'm just going to separate those 2 layers there, add in the glue, separate again, add in the glue, find my lid, and then literally squidge to my heart's content. And each one of these is naturally quite individual, slightly different, never 2 the same. And now we've made a much smaller embellishment. Put it to one side, and leave it to dry. Well guys, that's how I have put together my little tea bag rosettes, and thank you ever so much for watching. See you later. Bye bye.